What was it like to go on tour and I read this is something Derek wrote, and people and cripples coming up to you?
Well, I mean that was our version of what was happening. It got that people were sort of touching us as we walked past, that kind of thing, and wherever we went, we were supposed to be not sort of like normal, whatever. We were supposed to put up with all sorts of shit from Lord Mayors and their wives and be touched and poured like Hard Day's Night only a million more times, like at the American Embassy, the British Embassy in Washington here, or wherever it was, with some bloody animal cut Ringo's hair, in the middle of... I walked out of that, swearing at all of them, I just left in the middle of it. But I've forgotten, you tripped me off onto that. What was it? What was the question?
The cripples.
Oh, yeah. And wherever we went on tour, like in Britain or wherever we went, there's always a few seats laid aside for cripples and people in wheelchairs like that. But it got to that, because we were famous, we were supposed to have people, sort of epileptics and, whatever they are, in our dressing room all the time, We're supposed to be sort of good, and it's just... you wanted to be alone, and you don't know what to say, because they usually say, I got your record, or they can't speak or something, and they just want to touch you, and it's always their mother or their nurse pushing them on you. They would just say hello and go away, but there's this sort of, like they push them at you like you're Christ or something, or as if there's some aura about you which will rub off on them, and it just got to be like that. We got very sort of callous about it, It was just dreadful, you'd open up every night, instead of seeing kids there, you just see a row full of cripples on the front, all just sort of... It was just like that when we were running through, people would be lying. It seemed like just surrounded by cripples and blind people all the time. And when we'd go through corridors, they'd be all touching us, It got like that, it got horrifying.
You must have been still fairly young and naive at that point.
Yeah. Well, as naive as in his own right, which is...
Surely that must have, made you think for a second.
About what? No, we knew what the game was. The game is the same.
It didn't astound you at that point to see that you were supposed to be able to...
Well, that was a glib way of saying what was going on. It was that sort of the in-joke that we were supposed to cure them, it's the kind of thing that Derek would say, because it's a cruel thing to say. We felt sorry for them like anybody would, and it was awful, but there's a kind of embarrassment when you're surrounded by sort of blind, deaf and crippled people, and there's only so much we could say, with the pressure on us to perform and things like that. But it just built up. It built up. The bigger we got, the more unreality we had to face, the more we were expected to do, until when you didn't sort of shake hands with the mayor's wife, she starts abusing you and screaming or saying, how dare they, and there's one of Derek's stories where we were asleep after the session, in the hotel somewhere in America, and the mayor's wife comes and says, get them up, I want to meet them, And Derek said, I'm not going to wake them up. And she starts saying, you get them up or I'll tell the press. And it was always that. They were always threatening what they would tell the press about us, the bad publicity if we didn't see their bloody daughter and with their braces on her teeth. And it was always the police chief's daughter and the Lord Mayor's daughter, all the most obnoxious kids, because they got the most obnoxious parents, we were forced to see all the time. And we had these people thrust on us, And that was the most humiliating experiences, were all those for me, like sitting with the governor of the Bahamas because we were making help and being insulted by these fucking jumped-up middle-class bitches and bastards who would be commenting on our working classness, and our manners. And I was always drunk like the typical, whatever it is, insulting them. I couldn't take it. It would hurt me, so I would go insane, swearing at them and whatever. I'd always do something, that would... I couldn't take it. It was awful, And all that business was awful, It was a fucking humiliation. One has to completely humiliate oneself to be what the Beatles were. And that's what I resent, I did it, but I didn't know, I didn't foresee that, it just happened bit by bit, and you gradually, till this complete craziness is surrounding you, and you're doing exactly what you don't want to do with people you can't stand. The people that you hated when you were 10. And that's what I'm saying in this album. I'm saying, I remember what it's all about now, you fuckers. You know, fuck you all. That's what I'm saying. You know, fuck you all. You know, you don't get me twice.